Let's jump into problem 838, LIFO inventory records. For most of the world, LIFO is not allowed under most financial standards around the world, but it is allowed in one important market, a very important market, the United States. So if you're studying US GAAP, LIFO will be highly relevant to you. But if you're a cousin of mine here in Canada, you can probably skip this, but you US GAAP folks, lock in. One other comment, I'm wearing sunglasses. I had a medical procedure on my eye and I'm pretty sensitive to light today, but no big whoop. ABC Company uses the LIFO method to account for its inventory, and there's some inventory transactions. These numbers are taken exactly from problem 8.2. So we did the FIFO for 8.2 for this information. Now we're going to do LIFO in 8.3. It notes on January 31st, a physical count of inventory is performed. The ending inventory is 290 units. Part A, we're doing perpetual, and in the first part of the video, we'll do perpetual, and then in part B, we will do periodic, and that'll be in a separate video that comes after this. So it says, prepare a perpetual inventory schedule showing the cost of goods sold and ending inventory. Okay, inventory schedules all look the same. If you need a template, tonybell.com, but I would expect my students to be able to prepare a template because it's very straightforward. I'll show you how here. 3 columns: purchases, COGS, cost of goods sold, and inventory. And again, the thing people screw up is instead of COGS, they put sales here and they have revenues. You don't want revenues on here. This is all about costs. So I'm going to draw 3 nice big lines, and then I put QCT, quantity of units, cost per unit, and total. QCT and QCT. That's it. That's what the template is. We've set it up. So January 1st is our opening balance. And just like with FIFO, we didn't make a purchase, we didn't make a sale, but we do have an opening balance, 200 units at $40 a unit. That's $8,000 worth of inventory. And I draw a line underneath. January 8th, I make a purchase. I purchase 300 units at $48 a unit. That would be $14,400. I had 200 at 40 for 8,000, and now I'm adding to it 300 at 48 for 14,400. Just like with FIFO, with LIFO, we keep everything separated because we want to know what order we purchase them in, because when we sell them, we're going to sell them last in, first out. The reason I don't like this method, the reason most worldwide standard setters don't like this method, is because most inventory just doesn't move this way. You sell stuff, you know, if you think the company buys milk, the grocery store buys milk, well, when they sell it, they're trying to sell their older milk first, and they're rotating inventory, and most businesses rotate their inventory. FIFO makes a lot more sense. LIFO is most inventory just doesn't move in a LIFO way, and so standard setters say don't use LIFO. But in the States, they do, and we'll discuss that, why that is in problem 8.4 at the very end. January 15th, there is a sale. We sell 225 units. We're doing LIFO. We have to say which 225 units do we sell, and the answer is the newest, the most recently purchased. So I purchased 300. I sold 225 of those 300. 225 at 48, 10,800. What am I left with? Well, I still have 200 at 40 for 8,000, and of this 300, I've sold 225. I have 75 left at 48. 75 times 48 is 3,600. That's it for January 15th. On to January the 21st, we purchased 175 for $52 each. 175 times 52, $9,100 worth of inventory was purchased. So what do I have? Well, I bring down the 200 from before, 240 for 8,000, 75 at 48 for 3,600, and now I add to it 175 at 52 for 9,100. So I've got 3 sort of levels of inventory here. I sell 160 on January 30th. Which 160 did I sell? Well, the most recently purchased, of course. 160 at 52. 160 times 52 is 83.20, leaving me with, well, I had 200, I still have 200 at 40 for 8,000. I had 75 at 48, and I didn't sell any of those in this transaction for 3,600. And now I had 175. I sold 160 of those $52 units, and 160 times 50. Oh, sorry, leaving me with 15. I was like, this isn't going to work. Leaving me with 15. 15 at 52 is 780. Okay, that's it. Now, we've been totaling things up. So my total cost of goods sold, the total of this column, 10,800 plus 83.20. 19,120 is my COGS for the month. And my total inventory, my ending inventory for the month, just add up that column, the bottom cell there, 8,000 plus 3,600 plus 780 means my ending inventory is 12,380. Ending inv, and I've already got COGS. Oh, that's not the right number. 1920. I must have missed a zero. 10,800 plus 83.20. 19,120. I must have just missed that. Okay. So let's add up our COGS. So let's add up our total COGS, just the total of this column, 10,800 plus 83.20, 19,120. That is our cost of goods sold for the month. And our ending inventory is just what's in this cell here, $8,000 worth of the $40 inventory plus $3,600 of the $48 stuff and $780 of the last group. $12,380 is our ending inventory in dollars. And actually, what's our ending inventory in units? 200 plus 75 plus 15. We have 290 units, which is good because we counted 290 units. Now, in the bonus part of this question, we'll say, well, what happens if we count and it's a different number? Because inventory does go missing. People steal the inventory breaks or gets thrown out or whatever, right? There's lots of reasons why the inventory count might be different from what the accountant knows about. How do I adjust for that? Well, we'll do that in the bonus part here. But now the inventory actually lines up, right? What we counted matches what the accounting records think we should have. Terrific. Next part says calculate ending inventory. Well, we did that, 12,380. Sales, COGS, and gross profit. Okay, so sales rev is just the amount of sales. 225 times 100 is 22,500, and we made another cell here. 160 times 100 is 16,000. So our total sales for the month, 38,500. Our cost of goods here, 38,500. Oops, sorry, in 19,120, I was going to do the math, but we already had it. And our gross profit, this is what I was trying to calculate. I was getting a bit ahead of myself. 38,500 minus 19,120. Sales minus COGS is gross profit, 19,380. As always, I like to express this as a percentage. So sales, we said, is 100%. COGS, 19,120 divided by 38,500. 49.7%, and this is going to be 50.3%. I'll double check that. 19,380 divided by 38,500, 50.33%. Okay, so we've answered part B. Part C says do a bunch of journal entries. We don't do a journal entry for opening balance. We would have done those journal entries last month. I got to do January 8th, 15th, 21st, and 30th though, so let's do those. January 8th, January 15th, January 21st, and January the 30th. So what happened on January 8th? We bought 300 units for $48 each. $14,400 worth of inventory was purchased. Debit inventory credit AP for $14,400. On January 15th, we make a sale. And all our sales here are assumed to happen on account. So I sold $22,500 worth of inventory. Debit AR, $22,500. Credit sales rev, $22,500. Debit cost of goods sold. Credit inventory for the amount off the table, $10,800. January 21st, we bought some more inventory, $175 for $52 each. That's $9,100 in inventory. Debit inventory, credit AP for $9,100. And then on the 30th, another sale. So we're going to debit AR, credit sales revenue for $16,000. Debit cost of goods sold, credit inventory for that amount, $83.20, the January 30th amount. Okay, we've done a beautiful job. And in fact, we've solved the problem up to here, right? We've solved part A, B, C, and now the bonus question. So the bonus question says, assume that on January 31st, the physical count revealed 288 units, not 290. Prepare an adjustment to reflect this count. So basically we're saying on January 31st, we're going to assume we lost 2 pieces of inventory on this day. What does that look like? Well, 2 fewer pieces of inventory. We're doing LIFO. So it means we lost 2 of these ones, right? 2 of these guys of the $52 ones are gone. That's what LIFO assumes, right? Last in, first out. So we'll assume we lost the newest stuff. 2 units at $52 each got lost. That's $104 in inventory. Poof, gone. Credit inventory, it no longer exists. It's gone. It was either stolen or, broke or went missing or was misplaced. But $104 worth of inventory is no longer there that we, the accountant, had expected to be there. The debit will, in my experience, always go to cost of goods sold. I have seen it again put to shrinkage expense, but I would call this cost of goods sold, unless there was something highly unusual that happened that caused us to be way out of step with our live inventory count. But there you go. We've reduced our inventory by $104. And important to know which one's which, right? If we had been doing FIFO, it would have been a very different number here. But that's it for 838 Part 1, the Perpetual method. In the next part of the video, we'll do periodic. Stay tuned. The next video in our series is right up here, and if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.